Peace and blessings, family. It is on once again for your Power Couple Mental Fitness Program. It's yours truly, King Amari in the building, and Queen
Amari
in the building, family. Thank you so much for tuning in to your Power Couple Mental Fitness Program on today, where we focus on your mental, spiritual, physical, and your financial well-being. Sponsored by EY Pele Movement, a Kevin Lifestyle, Synergetic Property Solutions LLC, Sky Legacy LLC, Synergetic Network Group LLC. Man, just call us the king and queen of the LLCs, family. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you can see, your brother is suited up in your springtime apparel. We got some new cap and t-shirt sets for you. Make sure you go over there and check those out, all of which are unisex. And check out the tees we have for you, the Ujima Cooperative Economics. That's our legacy over luxury classic. I'm wearing the African version right now, and you have your Wealth Magnet shirt as well. Again, all are unisex for you and your family to enjoy. Listen, the springtime, summer is right around the corner, family. Listen, we want to make sure you stay cool and look cool at the same time. So I'm putting this up for you. Make sure you go over there to El Kevin Lifestyle. Visit us www.elkevinlifestyle. We provide African men, women's clothing, urban fashion, health, beauty products, okay, for your needs. And we'll be right back shortly after this commercial break. And today what we're going to talk about is, why is it so difficult for people to accept the truth? Why do people get mad?
Yes.
Why do people say they want the truth, but tell us about them?
Service your African men's and women's clothing, accessories, health, and wellness product needs. Visit alkebulanlife.com.
That's right, family. So we want to thank you all for your continued love and support, because if it wasn't for you, family, we wouldn't be here today. You know, as I like to say, if you had an author without anybody to read their book, where would they be? A singer, no one listening, where would their music career be? So without you, without the people, the vision and the dream perishes. So thank you so much. And we want you to keep in mind when you shop with us as well, that the beautiful thing about it is the dollar stays circulating in the community. Okay, we believe in practicing cooperative economics here. And so you're enabling us to stay in business, and you're able us to help others' businesses by doing so, because we take the same monies that we make from the business and we do the same. Okay, so we want you to understand you're doing more than what you think. It's more than an exchange for goods, okay, and capital. Okay, you're actually literally helping us to build generational wealth as well. Okay, you're helping us to be able to stay in business. All right, so we thank you. So we want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you so much for your shares and your invites. Okay, all of that matters. We got business because of you guys doing that. And I mean that with all sincerity. You guys have shown us that it's not true that we don't support each other, because it's been majority of us. Okay, we do have others that purchase from us too. Okay, but we do want to thank you all for your love and support. Okay, we're getting ready to dive in here. But before we do, remember the subject matter is, why do we find it difficult for us to accept the truth? I want to say grand rise to my big brother, Michael Neal. Wassalamu alaikum, my brother. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for tuning in, my good brother. Appreciate that. But before we do, we want to give thanks to our Gungun in the Yoruba tongue, so-called Yoruba tongue, the Oduwa tongue, that means ancestors. Okay, so we want to say, you know, to our Gungun known and unknown before us, we give thanks. To our Gungun who laid down their lives so we can have a better life, we give thanks. Majuba, you know what I'm saying? Much thanks. Okay, for those who fought to maintain and to regain our land, our spiritual, physical, financial well-being, we want to say Madupe Agungun. Madupe Agungun, Madupe Agungun. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Because family, it would be remiss of us not to pay homage to our Agungun, because it's upon their shoulders we stand today. It's because of what they've done, that great sacrifice that they made, okay, for us to be able to enjoy the benefits that we have on today. Okay, so we definitely want to pay homage to them. Those are our heroes. Next month is Memorial Day. Okay, they have a right to celebrate their heroes, as well as we have a right to celebrate ours who truly fought for our liberation. Okay, we have to highlight that. Okay, it's just not true. Okay, and then what is the topic of discussion? Why do we have a difficulty, right, accepting the truth? Is that not right? Okay, so we have to deal with that. We have to be honest, okay, with ourselves, and deal with these truths that we're talking about. Okay, we find it to be difficult because, let the truth be told, some people are very uncomfortable with saying what I just said. Okay, I'm a veteran. Okay, I served for a total of 20 years. Okay, and when you take an oath, when you swear into the military, you say you will defend the country against your enemies, both foreign and domestic. Okay, both foreign and domestic. All right, so that means that somebody have to attack you in order for you to fight. All right, so we just have to be realistic about these things that have actually happened. And within this history rather of this country, okay, what battles have been fought to set us free other than ourselves fighting to liberate ourselves, right? So we just have to be honest about that. The 4th of July, that is not okay. Based on us. Okay, it was the Europeans fighting the Europeans so they can be free, okay, from the British. Again, now we're talking about why do we find it difficult to accept the truth? Okay, and what I'm saying is that a lot of us, we're so patriotic about these type of holidays, but are we really being honest with ourselves? Are we really being honest with ourselves? Are we truly, honestly being honest with ourselves? Do we really, truly know our history? And I mean no disrespect to anyone, okay? But check the history of these holidays, okay? What does it have to do with us? What does Easter have to do with us? What does Christmas have to do with us? Okay, none of those are African holidays. But when we celebrate Kwanzaa, we get a lot of pushback. Our celebrations are turned into demonic celebrations, and there's a negative shade that's thrown on us celebrating Kwanzaa. And people who talk about Kwanzaa speak ignorantly about Kwanzaa. It's very evident to me that they're very ignorant about Kwanzaa, okay? Because Kwanzaa has nothing to do with worshiping demons, okay? Now, we talked about, us, having a difficulty with accepting the truth. So we got to be truthful about these things. Okay, that it has nothing to do with demonic activity. There is no ritual, okay, that it summons demons. Okay, but we've been taught as a people, to run away from our spirituality, when in all actuality, okay, and I'm not saying every single spiritual system, that just won't be true either, right? So we said difficulty accepting the truth, right? There is, some negative practices out there that curses people and things. Yes, that's true. Okay, but it's also true, okay, that there are spiritual practices like Ifa, okay, that has us pray prayers to bring love into the world, to bring peace into the world, for us to go about doing good, for us to serve, our fellow man with gladness. Okay, so we have to also face the truth about that too. All right, so I believe in being fair. That's just me. I believe in being fair, okay, because that's just not true. I don't believe in getting on here and try to make everything so beautiful about what we do. No, there's a negative side too. Just like there's a positive side. There's a negative polarity, there's a positive polarity. Okay, that's just the way it is. So we got exactly. we got to learn how to deal with that. The fact that there's some negative things too. Okay, everything about us is not positive. We have to be honest about that. And we have a difficulty with us talking about these things, about things that go on in the motherland. Okay, And again, now this topic is going to be tough for some of you because I know some of you want to glamorize the positive things about the motherland, but we got to talk about the negative things too. Okay. And that's just not being real when you try to stay away from the negative things like us having wars amongst ourselves. Okay. Over there and thinking that we're better than each other. Okay. We got problems on the continent too. Okay. And those problems come from what? Colonization. Right. So we got to deal with the fact that some of our brothers and sisters, Sierra Leone and other countries over there speak French. And why do they speak French when they're African? Okay, we got to deal with the reality, you know, saying that just because, and a lot of us don't understand this because a lot of us don't look into this, that a lot of them don't know their culture just as much as we don't know ours. And, you know, a lot of African people don't understand that. Okay, that just because they're in Africa does not mean that they're connected to their African self. Okay, you got to check the history and we got to look at the problems that go on over there too, because just as the African in America has an identity crisis, the African on the continent that we come from, which we all are birthed from, has its own issues too as well. And we got to deal with that. We got to face that. Okay, we got to get to the root of that. Okay, and the only way we can solve problems is by us not running away from those problems. A lot of us don't like to talk about those things. Okay, why is that? Why is it that we don't like to talk about those things? Why don't we like to be honest about what's going on in this country called the United States of America? Why don't we like to talk about what's actually going on, okay, in our neighborhoods? Why don't we like to talk about what's actually happening to us and what we're not only doing to ourselves, that not only the outside, okay, destroying us, but what's going on the inside that's destroying us? Why don't we like to talk about these things? Okay, so we got to face the reality that we shy away from these things. Okay, and we don't like to confront these things because it starts uncomfortable conversations, right? So we got to deal with that. Why is it so uncomfortable for us to have a conversation amongst us about us? Huh? Why is it so difficult for us to have family discussions about family? What can we do to mitigate these problems amongst our people? How do we go about solving these issues? You understand? So we got to get to the root of these things and face the trauma that some of our women have faced. They've been raped, okay, by their own family members. Okay, we like to try to make this thing sound so good when we talk about unity, but how can you unify with somebody who raped you? Can we just keep it real? Can we just keep it real? How can you unify with somebody that looks at you like, because of their religious teachings, they look at you like you're a disease, like you're a plague, you know, like you know, you're a devil. So how can we get along when we got all these things that we're dealing with internally and externally? We're dealing with racism. We're dealing with identity crises. We don't recognize we're family. We say we're not family. We came over here on the same boat. Okay, we've been separated through racism. Okay, divided throughout this country, sent on different plantations. Okay, to where we lost even traces of our origin of our families. Why can't we deal with that? Why can't we just deal with the reality, okay, that we weren't religious at one time? Why can't we deal with, before there was any book that was written that we know as a Bible or Quran, and not knocking anybody that practices? I'm just saying, why can't we deal with the fact that before we were religious, we were spiritual? Why do we have such a difficulty embracing the fact that we were spiritual people before we were even religious? Now you got to think, who wrote the book? Man. So before the book was written, that means that man existed before the book, which means we predate the book, which means that we had a way of life that we lived before there was even a text created. So we have to get to that. Why is this so important? Because we got to be honest about what divides us. But many people don't want to have this conversation because we get all caught up in our feelings and we get offended and we get upset for what? Why? Why are you so upset? Why are you so offended? What are you so upset about? You understand? We were the ones who was colonized. So why are you upset with your brother and your sister when they're telling you the truth? What you so upset about? You understand? You talking English, but you're African. So what we're saying is not true then? What we're saying is not true. You're African. You don't know what exact people you come from, but there's a problem with me or my queen or any other brother and sister that start talking about these things. There's an issue. Why do we get so offended by these things?
Well,
go ahead, sweetheart.
I'm gonna try and answer some of the questions that you said. Not that you were asking those questions directly to me. I say that a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and that person, a precious thing to waste. And the person that is molding the mind can basically tell the mind whatever they want it to tell the mind. We were taught that. And for many, many years, from the rocking of our cradle to this very time, that was the narrative that was put forth, that we are who they say we are. We walk how they say we walk. We talk how they say we talk. So when someone begins to challenge, the thing that we've been taught from day one, then it becomes an issue, because it starts messing with our foundation. It starts messing with the very fabric of who we were, of who we are. And when you start messing with my mind and my belief system, I get offended, because that means that you're coming at me a certain way. It's not just, the belief system. You're coming at me. That is me. You see what I'm saying? And I just say that as we move on, and we take the time in order to do our own examination, and we take the time to do our own research, we'll find those things. But until then, we'll remain being offended. We'll remain on the defense or the offense in regards to the realization of things that have been put forth. Some people, they really don't care. They're in Rome, so they're going to do what the Romans do. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, whether history dictates something different or not, they're just going to do what the Romans say do. Because, in Rome, if you don't do what the Romans say do, they capture you and they put you in jail, so to speak. So some people are very, very comfortable in their thought process and in their thought system, and they don't want to rock the boat. I myself personally, can't get, I wouldn't get offended or upset at them. This myself personally, because we all had to wake up at a certain time. It wasn't until a gentleman approached me, and I wasn't at that time. I was like, why do you think the way that you think? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Could you help me understand why you think the way that you think? But you don't have a lot of people doing that. A lot of people will shut down somebody else's thought process, because it's not like theirs. After the gentleman told me why he thought the way that he thought, and I began to research, I found out, he told the truth. Now, after I received that information, it was up to me how I wanted to handle it. I could have gone back to the same thought process, which some people do. Some people know the truth, but they choose not to acknowledge the truth. They choose to continue to bury the truth. Some of them look at it as if it's negative energy. Oh, why are you still talking and thinking about that? Because it happened. We never forget 9/11. We never forget the Holocaust. We never forget Memorial Day. We never forget George Washington. Why should I forget the people who fought for me? Why should I, celebrate a lie, when it comes down to who I really am? So that's just that. And some people feel that, it's wrong for you to remember. I see posts all the time, about people acknowledging, slavery and some of the mindsets and things that happen. They get mad because people are acknowledging that. Why are we still talking about that? That was a long time ago. No, dog. No, dog, baby, or whatever. That was just not too long ago.
That was the Floridian came out on that one. They say a big time dog down there in the South. Boy.
Dog, baby, dog.
So I want to say, grand rising to our elder out there, John D. Henry. Thank you so much for tuning in. Want to thank you, Auntie Viv. for tuning in. Cousin Shantae is in the building. She called it now down.
It's in there.
Yes, indeed. But you know, family, we have to face the reality that it's all the programming. Even if you're spiritual, it's a programming. Okay, there's a positive programming. Okay, to where you love yourself. You know, you love your culture. You know, you love your people. Okay, but then we got to think about, why do we have so many problems with each other? And let the truth be told, it's because of numerous things. It's not just one thing. It's really not. We have a series of multiple issues about why we have issues. You know what I'm saying? What is the cause of our social ills that have been plaguing our community, you know, for centuries? Okay, and it's because the truth of the matter is we have been cut off from our indigenous way of thinking. You understand? You know, the reason why a lot of us, we learn things and we don't share it is because we've been cut off from a family-oriented mentality. Okay, there is no moving on from this. Okay, because let me tell you something. If your son or your daughter, okay, was Philandro Castile, okay, or Breonna Taylor, you wouldn't feel like that. You wouldn't feel that way. You see, that's a problem, that we are numb to each other's pain. And we got to get to the root of this problem. Why can't we feel when others feel pain? Why can't we feel the pain? And this is where Ujima comes in at. Ujima, one of our 7 principles of the Ngozi Saba. Okay. Why is it? Is because we got to get back to, yes, that's right, Auntie Viv. You said brainwashing. That's right. You know, we have to get back to family orientation. Okay. And as much as I'm a loving person, okay, there's nothing wrong with me loving my family. In other words, what I'm saying is loving you. You understand? Why is it we got to deal with the truth? Why is it when the African person love on themselves, it's always some pushback from even our own people? You understand? And I don't get angry. It's just sad. It's just sad that we fight ourselves. When we stand up for ourselves, you're having people on the other side talking about, well, racism don't exist today. You understand? It's psychosis. Psychosis. I'm serious. Psychosis, man. It's like people don't understand. They have a bad case of psychosis. You're not facing reality. Yes, it does exist today. Yes, it does exist today. You know, we just don't want to deal with that. You understand? It don't matter how spiritual, how religious you are. It doesn't face the reality. The Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King was a Christian preacher. Was he not fighting against racism? Don't tell me that it don't exist today. When you still have redlining going on, you still have, you know, monies that's funds that's being misappropriated. Okay? When you still have our schools in poor conditions, and it's not because the children are tearing it down. It's because of it's dilapidated because they don't, the principals, okay, and the teachers are not getting the funding that they need. And when you got parents bringing note material, you know what I'm saying, to school and pencils. So don't tell me that it don't exist. When parents are coming out their own pockets and the principals and the teachers are soliciting for the parents to bring this type of materials to the school when the school is supposed to be funding these things. Don't tell me it's not a problem when somebody is telling you that there's no Medicaid, but you're getting taxed from Medicaid. Don't tell me it's not a problem when Social Security is coming out of your paycheck and they tell you, oh, it's no Social Security.
I want my money back.
No, we got to stop playing these games. We got to stop running away from, okay, what is actually going on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just telling you the way. Let me tell you something, family. I'm just telling you this in love. Okay, listen, our ancestors literally laid down their lives for us. Literally. Do you understand? I think a lot of you may know, but do you understand it? Do you understand the great sacrifice they made when they was boycotting? Do you know some of them was fired? Do you understand that? Do you understand how they really truly survived? We need to really get down into this and start unpacking what our ancestors really, because we celebrate the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King birthday. Nothing wrong with that. We keep their names in our mouths, but do we really understand the sacrifice they made for us to have the minuscule benefits that we have today? Do you understand? How many parents have that passion for their children to stand up against the school board, okay, and say, stop teaching my children that we're only slaves? Like our ancestors did, saying, no, we're not tolerating this anymore. If you don't want to treat us right, we're not going to support your businesses. We're not going to take your transportation. You understand me? And you know how they survived? Nguvu Pamoja. Nguvu Pamoja. That's Swahili for stronger together. You know why? Because they did it together. It wasn't this, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm a Moor. It wasn't this, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim. You understand me? Our issue is bigger than our religion. It's bigger than our spirituality. It's bigger than these European last names we have. Oh, well, that's a Williams. And that brother and sister, listen, elder, listen. Those are European names. Williams, James, Jones, those were not our names. And we got more. Let me tell you how I know we got a problem. We got more pride in that European name than we have in our own culture. But we think we don't have no problem. We think it's not a problem. How in the world can we solve our problems by us running away from the truth of the matter that we're Africans talking English, we're Africans, we don't want to accept our spirituality, we're Africans, we don't want nothing to do with Africa, we'll claim a continent that we were colonized to more than we would claim our own land, but you think we don't have no problems? We got our men being unlawfully convicted and incarcerated, but we don't have no problems. You got weapons that are used in war, and I know I'm a retired Marine. I know what I'm talking about. I know a weapon when I see it. Where they get these weapons from? Where do these semi-automatic weapons come from? We don't have no weapons manufacturing. And why is it that when our men do the things they rap about, they get put in jail, but they allow them to say it on the air? They allow them to rap it because you know what? It makes them money. Nicotine is killing people, but why are they allowed to sell? Because it makes them money.
That's why marijuana is becoming legal.
Oh, but now marijuana has become legal, but our brothers and our sisters get locked up for selling that which they done made it legal, but we don't want to talk about that though, because we're too scared because we may lose a sponsorship. We're scared to have African names. We're scared to have indigenous names, but we don't think we have no problems. We're told we can't wear our natural hair, but we don't have no, oh, racism don't exist today. Racism don't exist today, but you're being told you can't wear your fro. You're being told you can't wear your locks. The young man who was wrestling was told that if he didn't cut his locks out, he could continue the wrestling match. But you're saying racism don't exist today, though. The Caucasian boy wasn't told to take care of his hairstyle. But the African boy was, though. But we don't have racism today, though, do we? You call your own spiritual system satanic when once upon a time we didn't even know what that word was. Because you know, let me tell you how I know. Let me tell you how I know it come from us. Because of linguistics and etymology. Look at the root word of devil. Look at the root word of satanic. Look up the root word. That's not an African word. So how do we get this in our vocabulary? How do we go from praising ourselves to despising ourselves, to hating ourselves? Huh? When are we going to ever solve the problem? When are we ever going to deal with the problem? And when are we ever going to be bold enough and courageous enough to bring the remedy to the community? When are we ever going to have a sit down and stop fighting each other and stop getting so upset with each other? When are we going to start listening to each other and stop being so offended about the truth? Just deal with it, African. Be honest with yourself. You know that you don't want your child to have an African name because it's less of a chance of them getting hired.
What about?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I know. I heard an African sister say that. I heard a sister. Hey, I'm not making nothing. I'm not pulling this out the air.
We heard our teachers say that, something similar.
We heard yes.
And we quit the class.
Our teacher in real estate school, yes, a sister.
We
literally said, "Oh, you can't have that name. They won't. They."
And she got mad because her daughter had natural hair.
Listen, family, our problem is we don't have enough controlling-ship. This is why the Africans, we need to start more businesses. This is the reason why we need to start doing stuff like that. It's a reality. We need more woke, okay? More woke, not just African people, because if they still got a European mind, what good is it? What good is a European-minded African to our community? No good, none, because they don't have our best interests at heart because they're too busy trying to impress the European. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about the truth, not wanting the truth. Why is it so difficult for us to face? You know why? Because we love the truth until it's about us. We love the truth until it's about us. Even with politics, we get so mad with African people who are discouraged from voting because they get pushback. Because they've been lied to by politicians who say they would do this and that, but never did it. That look like them and don't look like them. But we get mad. We get mad. We don't want to deal with, you got good politicians in your area, but let's start thinking about us as a collective. You just talking about your community. You just talking about the mayors and the commissioners in your doggone communities. When we got a nation full of African people who don't have the type of backup you have and who've been lied to. So why should they have confidence? Can we just be real? Give them a good reason why. Now, I'm not saying not to vote, but what I'm telling you is if you was that person and you kept doing this time and time again, they kept lying, they never did anything, they get your vote, then they act like they don't know who you are. Okay, they act like they got doggone amnesia. They forgot the promises they made. But we got a problem with African people. Like down in Mississippi. Like down in Georgia, like down in Texas.
Well, that's why they're still in the same situation they're in.
You understand? It's easy to say when you're not going through any certain things. It's easy to say that. I've learned this time and time again. It's so easy to say certain stuff when you're not experiencing. But guess this is the thing. You know why we feel like we're not experiencing? Because we done lost family orientation. If it's happening to them, it's happening to us, period. That's the problem. Oh, well, I'm not going through that. Yes, you are. You're never above your people. We're one. We're one. What happened to Breonna Taylor, it happened to all of us. What happened to Philando Castile, it happened to all of us. Trayvon Martin, it happened to all of us. Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, it happened to all of us. And just because you're spiritual, just because you're religious, doesn't it make you exempt from fighting against injustice? Okay, we got to get some courage, and we got to get back in the fight. Okay, we got to get the love back in our hearts for ourselves. We got to start coming back together. Okay, we got to start coming back together as a people. Okay, and this is all I'm saying. We got to find the love again. We got to get back to loving again, family. It's the lack of love. And until we face the truth about why, you got drugs, you got alcoholism, you got people that's mentally abused, verbally abused, been physically abused. It's hard for them to trust. It's not so easy for us to unite like we talk about. When you got all these different emotional issues and all these different mindsets and all these different theologies and theories, and people get mad because you say you're not black when we never called ourselves black. That's a historical fact. We never did that before was brought on this continent. But you mad with your brother and your sister because they don't say that they're black.
Well, we have a problem connected with our immediate family, let alone somebody, in the huge community.
That's right, sweetheart.
Of African people. So, they say charity begin at home. You don't have no love at the house. How could you go out, call yourself loving? But like I said, we do have difficulties with our immediate family.
That's right. That's right. And we got to deal with that. You understand, family? We can't get nowhere. And I'm saying this out of love and out of passion. We can't get nowhere if we're being unrealistic about what's going on. We cannot solve problems when we find out the answer and then we don't want to implement the remedy to heal our problem. You understand? As long as we keep fighting ourselves, we're going to lose. And that's just the bottom line. As long as we keep fighting ourselves, if you understand what I'm saying, fighting who we are as a people, our bloodline, where we come from, what our spiritual practices were, you understand what I'm saying, and are still to this day, okay? All right? Until we face that, we're never going to get anywhere. Until we face that, we need to be educated about business. Okay, we need to start getting degrees and start bringing our practices back to our communities and start employing until we start doing that, we're going to continue to lack. You know why? Because we're not taking care of our family. We're not taking care of our family. We're not family oriented enough. Okay? We're too busy working for other people, and we got to start bringing businesses to our communities, factories, okay? Job opportunities, hiring our own, okay? It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work, but my goodness, if we never do it, then how is it ever going to happen? We too busy beating Tyler Perry up, want to talk about the dress. I don't agree with him wearing the dress either, but guess what? Did he not offer job opportunity? Did he not open up the door for job opportunities? Won't you talk about that?
Forgot about that.
You forgot about that, though.
Opportunities for us to be.
I don't agree with that
either. Be on sitcoms and in Hollywood.
Exactly. But the brother created a table for us to be able to go to so we can eat too. Let's talk about that. The African people, we are too programmed to migrate to negativity. We are too programmed to digest negativity. When you say something positive, you barely get any views. Am I complaining? No. What I'm telling you is you ought to see the mental conditioning of us. Why is that?
Bad shape.
You understand? So, you all have a blessed, rest of your day. Let us learn how to face the truth. You understand? Let us learn how to deal with that. Let us come together and be real, and let us come together as a people, okay? And let us come together to solve our problems together, okay? We know that financial illiteracy is a problem. Let us come on these platforms and let us start bringing people on here who are subject matter experts in that arena. We got a problem with history. Let us start bringing some history teachers on here, or we can just teach some historical things and give ourselves the real history so that we can awaken in our consciousness. We understand that it's a problem with our spirituality. Let us just be honest about history, about what has happened. But guess what? They told on themselves, when they allowed us to watch Roots in school. They told on themselves. How many of us know about Roots, but did we really understand Roots? Because if you really understood Roots, then you would stop getting mad with people like us and stop calling us devils about our spiritual system. If you really watch Roots, you'll know that we were cut off from our spirituality. And you yourself will learn how to embrace yourself too if you really understood what really happened to us. I know you're familiar with it. I know that's what you're accustomed to, but that's not our origin. That's not our origin. That's not what we practiced. I understand. I've been there. I was a Christian. I was raised in. I understand all of that. And no disrespect to any of you. Okay, but that's not what we started with. It's just not. Okay? So I love you all. You have a blessed rest of your day. Peace and love, family. And make sure you tune in on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. We're out.